Okay, I sent out an agenda. Is there anybody on the call that did not get the agenda and has not read it? Because I'll put it in the chat. Okay, Eric. Anybody else that didn't get the agenda? Okay, I'll put it in the chat there. Okay, so I want to first start off by. Okay, here we go. I want to first start off by saying that I didn't really identify to all of the. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. I got to break concentration to figure out how I can get all these people. Okay. There was one other person I'm waiting for, General Bray. I may have to contact him. He's in the Dominican Republic. But while I'm chewing bubblegum and walking at the same time, I'm going to say that what I'd like to establish for everybody on the call is what I'm attempting to be and what I have been and what I want the young people I work with. And not even young people, just people who are digital learners. What I want them to be able to come away with engaging all of our pedagogy, all of our workforce training, and more importantly, our philosophy of kind of creating new directions for media, business people, leaders, technologists. All of those are the kinds of mindsets and skill sets we're looking for in the people we want to get into workforce, because I believe those are the people who can create the kind of leadership and project managers that do not exist at the very earliest development of the people who have the talent to do it. But they're never, again, challenged by understanding that if they can be a project manager taking any product or solution into a area of ideation to innovation, that's what we hope to really cover as a narrative, and as also a way to market and brand this new movement. Because at some point, I believe everybody on this call will be able to figure out how to help us understand what components that they can bring to the table to help us achieve this. And I want to start with some of the young people I'm working with right now in deploying that. Let me see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with introductions. And in this particular order, I'm just going to go from left to right on my screen. And I'm going to start with a gentleman that I've met almost now 7-8 years ago when we were at Compton Unified School District. He is no other than a change agent and a person who is probably the most compelling person I met about philosophy and how it connects to workforce, to education, to all of the things we want to do to create a better makers and doers. This gentleman's name is Ted Lai. So Ted, if you could start us off with your introduction and how you're tied to the other two gentlemen, because I don't know them. Okay?
Absolutely. And I'll keep it quick because I know that we have a hard stop. I'm Ted Lai. I'm the Vice President of Student Services and Success at Calbright College. And I work on supporting teams in career services, counseling, enrollment, a whole slew of other things. I met Kevin way back when I was at Apple, working in organizational change management and the idea of how we can really transform learning to benefit not only the learners, but also be able to open up new pathways for students in careers. And I'll hand it off to some of my colleagues that I have on the line with me, going over to Michael Younger, my colleague, who's a vice president at Calbright as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Ted. Just briefly, my name is Michael Younger. I'm the Vice President of Workforce Strategy and Innovation at Calbright. My primary responsibility is to ensure that we stand up opportunities, be it career, job placement opportunities for equitable hiring, public-private partnerships, and more broadly to serve our underserved population of student learners, right, that make up a majority of our student population of nearly 1,800 students. which is up from about 200% from last July. My previous capacity was in the administration. I worked with colleagues like Kelly and others, so great to see her. I served as the Deputy Secretary of the Labor and Workforce Development Agency, managing our workforce strategy and equity portfolio. And so I bring to this capacity that lens of not only equity, but how to strike the right partnerships to advance the ecosystem of workforce for underserved populations. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to my colleague, Aaron.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. My name is Aaron Perez. I'm one of the senior workforce engagement managers that sits under Michael Younger's team on the workforce strategy innovation team. So happy to be here and seeing how Calbright can be of service to some of the ideas we have going on here. Thanks.
And Kevin, that's it from Calbright.
And Kevin, you are muted.
Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm still trying to get General Bray into the call. I might just put him on a speakerphone, but we're going to keep rolling along here because I know we're 8 minutes into our hour. I'm going to start with Jay Tucker. Jay, can you say hello? And again, some of these people you know and some you don't.
Hey, just in the interest of time, because I know I've introduced myself to some of you before, I run the Center for Media, Entertainment, and Sports at UCLA's Business School, UCLA Anderson School of Management. I've also been working on really talent pipeline development, how we kind of channel innovation and make sure that underserved communities get to take advantage of it. So that manifests itself mostly in experiential learning opportunities that we've been able to create either through conferences that I host or other things, partnerships, and other folks that Kevin has brought into his web. So really, I'm here for Kevin, who has done an incredible job, really for more than a decade at this point, working directly with young people, school districts, and other entities just to provide opportunities and awareness so that folks have a pathway to success.
Thank you, Jay. All right, next from UCLA, Jeff.
Hi, yeah, I'm Jeff Burke, Associate Dean for Research and Technology at the UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television. And my connection to Kevin here is we just led a large proposal to the National Science Foundation that looks at the intersection really of research in the future of media and entertainment in the creative sector with workforce development. So I will kind of leave it at that for now. And I apologize, I need to go taxi a 5-year-old around, but I'm going to be listening in as best I can. So thanks for the invitation.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Hey, is there anybody else that has to leave immediately? Because I want to be able to make sure everybody gets on, but okay. I'm going to go now to, I'm going to save a couple of people for last who've been recent allies in helping me shape what I believe is the real agenda. But I'm going to go to an old trusted friend, or a trusted friend, not old, trusted friend, and Anna Marie Pierce-Simone. She didn't get a chance to speak last time. So again, please, Anna Marie.
The old works. It's okay. I have known Kevin for decades now, first at AFI, where I was running digital media programs, and then through Cal State Northridge, where I teach, and several of my students have gotten apprenticeships and internships through him, and I believe very much in what he's doing and how the work of Dakar integrates with four-year universities and eventual jobs in the entertainment industry.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Anna Marie, appreciate it. Another person that I've known for maybe almost 4 to 5 years. I know just before the pandemic, we planned on doing some stuff, but this gentleman's name is Eric Elder. And Eric, can you introduce yourself to Renee and to Kelly?
Hi, Eric Elder. I'm a creative media consultant, specialized in animation, video games, and XR. Started one of the first bachelor's degree programs in video game production at the Art Institute about 20 years ago. Working with Kevin for a couple of years now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eric. I'm going to introduce a person. I don't know if she can actually give us a chance to look at her. Her name is Bernice. Bernice, can you let us see us? Let's see your face, if at all possible, for a little bit. You're on for a second. Well, I'll go to another good friend here. Been working together for a while. How do I describe her? Redelia, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Redelia Shaw. I teach at Santa Monica College, and I lead our media production program, as well as promo pathways and esports management, production, and performance. Great to meet you.
Thank you, Redelia. Okay. Let's go to Jonathan Williams. Jonathan,
What's good, Joe? It's kind of loud here. I'm Jonathan. I'm in XR production. I do some animation. I teach kids, all the fun stuff. That's all I got. All right, bye, guys.
Okay, great. All right. A new friend, but definitely a kindred spirit indeed. Jamel Cleary, can you let us see your face? I'd love to have everybody try to open up for a few minutes. I know we're doing a lot of things in the background, but if we can see your face, Jamel, great. Thank you. Can you introduce yourself? There you go.
Hi, I'm Jamel Cleary. I do custom strategy, chief marketing officer for a few different companies, chief strategy officer. We deal with 3D animation, design, production, and manufacturing.
Thank you, Jamel. Okay, I'm going to go to, I know, Bernice, when you can, unmute at least so that we can get you in. And I think next, I'm going to go to one of our apprentices. JP, Jordan, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is JP.
Oh, yeah.
Like Kevin said, I'm currently his apprentice right now. You know, I'm an aspiring filmmaker, and I'm currently working and helping him on his Victory by Valor project.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sorry about that, guys. All right, thank you, JP. And I'm saving this guy here, but I guess at this point, General Brace. Okay, here we go. Yeah, General Bray is having some difficulties getting in. He was going to take something home for us. Okay, I'm going to go right now to a guy who actually helped write the agenda for today. A very new ally, but really has given me a strategy for how to integrate everything that I've learned today about really making sure that we have one single thread, one single message that we could actually put out there that people can buy into and believe. His name is Brian Wright. So Brian, if you can give us a little bit more of a introduction and overview of what we're going to see in the agenda today before we actually Kelly introduce herself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So Brian Wright, I've been blessed to have met Kevin through a contact at Warner Brothers. I am the co-founder and president of Max Edwards Company. We're a business consulting and professional development strategy business. I leverage a lot of my corporate relationships. I spent 25 years in the media industry doing high volume recruiting for all levels and all functions of positions. So have used a lot of that knowledge and collaboration and partnerships to create real world projects that the talent pools that I'm working with can obviously work on. It's very similar to some of the workforce programs that I'm sure you all work on, but I think the goal is to do it in the highest volume and highest repetition so people can build that muscle memory on workflows, new technology, and problem solving. So again, happy to be here and learn from all of you.
Okay, great. Now we've got about two more people that I'd love to have talk. Another gentleman that has really given me some idea of how to shadow an agency who does this kind of work, ideating, innovating, project managing. He's kind of helping me try to be a better model for a junior interactive ad agency. He doesn't know this yet, but he's going to take on at least 3 people if this thing works to help them understand all the processes used to be able to serve a client. And his name is Ed Bernard. So Ed, if you can say hello to everybody. You're muted, Ed. Ed, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's
Wanted to make sure not to let you guys hear everything going on in the background here. So Kevin, I didn't know that. So good to know. Nice to meet everyone. But yeah, whatever I can do to help out, I'd love it. So my name is Ed Bernard, and I'm an EP at an agency. It's basically an experiential marketing production agency. We do everything from ideation for live events, digital events, experiential events that travel. And we do a lot of everything else too. We do a lot of video production, 2D, 3D animation. And we basically just do a lot of things in the event communication space.
Okay, great. All right. Real thank you guys for being very, very quick on these. Dr. Rawls, can you say hello to us?
I can indeed. Hello from Cal State University, Dominguez Hills. I'm the workforce development, workforce program designer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rawls. That was good, nice, sweet. Okay. Rochelle Howard.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rochelle Howard. I'm the Senior Workforce Engagement Manager at Calbright College. I do a lot of work around helping our students connect with employers and developing partnerships to do so.
Great. Bernice, are you with us? Can we hear you? We can't see you, but can we hear you just for a second? Okay, no Bernice. Okay. All right. Is there somebody I've missed? Is anybody not been introduced? All right. This is the gentleman that's going to help set my real North Star is to make all of these things work in a strategy that really takes on the makings of something that would be almost planning to win a battle or war. And he's really been my mentor for maybe the last 10 years. So I want to introduce retired Brigadier General Arnold Gordon Bray.
First of all, Kevin, thank you very much. To all of you, I apologize. I'm trying to fight some of the connections here in Dominican Republic. So my wife has held me hostage. So I'm doing it without duress. That said, what you're trying to do is important. And you know, there's a great line from Hamilton is who tells the story. And in this day and age, the digits matter so much. What happens on digits matters so much. And some think that, you know, I've done a lot of work with technology, and I was the Army's experimentation guy, and I was part of the think tank that built the joint cyber programs as we go forward. And I currently advise the Chancellor of Fayetteville State University on military affairs and issues. And anyone who doesn't think that cyber is into everything, they're killing themselves, or they're kidding themselves, and probably killing themselves as well. So as we try to tell our story and tell it accurately and tell it different ways, it's important to make sure that we understand both the process and the ideas and designs that we're trying to work with, and make sure we get the best experts to help us, help students, help writers, help creators, researchers get involved. And in my conversations I've had with Miss Renee over the past several weeks, one of the things we've got to do is we've got to get every young people involved in all parts of the process, all parts of the process. And as an underbelly of everything we do, we got to recognize that whatever story we tell, somebody may be trying to change our story post, pre, or even during. And so having an understanding of that part of the process, recognizing that what you're doing is important and that others are trying to stop those things that are important is pretty powerful. So as I'm listening to all the parts and pieces that are being developed, I think it's just for a moment, can you all, am I clear? Because I've got stuff behind me. I hope it's not coming through.
You're good.
Okay, good. Okay, great. So what we have happening is we have a chance right now, and one of the great stories for people of color is making sure you understand that we've been on a fight to fight. And because what matters is, you know, I'm a fan of the flag, but I'm a fan of the flag in the sense of this. It represents the Constitution, which is one of the greatest documents ever developed by man. And so we have to make sure that, one, we tell the story so it becomes inspirational and aspirational for us to be Americans and understand that in order to enjoy the treasures of this nation, we got to let folks understand you've been part of the blood in that story. And one of the products that Kevin has had is a thing called Victory by Valor. And this being the 75th year of the Executive Order 9981, I could not think of a better framework to start to have people research, build, craft the story that if they do it right, it becomes inspirational, aspirational, and not divisive in the way it's built. But this is for the kids to do. I think the kids have to do that because they got to tell it in a way that's relevant to who they are. And I think the experts that could be built around this thing are so powerful. So to that end, that's what I have extended myself to Kevin to help him do, help him craft, help him build. And most importantly, when the kids finish, they have learned those valuable skills that made them not just mentees, but in fact, apprenticed. So they're prepared to start doing the same process for something else. So that's where I am, and I hope that helps.
Thank you, General Bray. We got two more people who want to sneak in very quickly. Ted Milner. Can you say hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I think everyone's kind of heard my story, so I'm sure you guys have been sitting and listening to a lot of people. But anyway, I run an entertainment employment agency in California, and I do a lot with helping and preparing students to get jobs, interviewing, and resumes, preparing the resumes to be employed and to stay employed. In a nutshell, that's it.
Thank you, Ted. Okay, and a young person who did not get a chance to speak last time, Shoni, if you can say hello to Kelly.
There we go. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you.
All right, perfect. I'll make sure this is working. Afternoon. Thanks for having me aboard. My name is Joni Dell. Been working with Kevin for the past couple of years and trying to get student voice and get youth into these processes for understanding how these things are developed and designed and put together, and how we're trying to create pathways for them. With that being said, I'm currently working out here in Lancaster with a local church and a couple good studio buddies of mine. We built a studio out here, and we're trying to see, you know, how we can connect with all of you wonderful folk and figure out how we can help start getting youth from Lancaster and Palmdale into these different career pathways from STEM to the entertainment and media spheres. So thanks for having me.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shoni. I don't think Bernice is able to join us right now. I'll say a little bit about her. She is representing a very important part of the proposed new direction in getting people to learn the processes of producing, manufacturing, and distributing products. And then project, I think she's kind of the quintessential project manager for all the things that this company does. It's called Nodavani. That's basically innovation with an E spelled backwards. And they are looking to really change the dynamic for a lot of people who have been underserved, underrepresented. And they're doing so in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now, re-energizing and redeveloping Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But I guess I get her to say anything, but that's part of our story, because we're definitely trying to take the spirit of what they're doing in Oklahoma and what they've done internationally and do it here in LA. So I will then now start to turn it back to the agenda. And if you can, Kelly and Renee, can you both kind of introduce why we're on this call, which is to try to find out any issues or pain points you may have in getting some of your objectives met, because that's what we want to hear. We want to figure out what we can do to get consensus on anything we can do to help you guys.
Yeah, I'm happy to start. First of all, it's a pleasure to meet some new faces. We had a very robust conversation. I think it was like a week or so ago. We started a dialogue. Some of the folks that are on this call were on that call. For those of you who are new to today's call, I'm Kelly Mackey, and I'm the State Director of Strategic Partnerships with the Apprenticeship and Workforce Innovation Unit. I lead a really talented group of strategic business advisors. Renee happens to be one of them, that are really deployed in the state to help develop registered apprenticeship programs in new and emerging sectors like IT. Appreciated the Brigadier General's comments about cybersecurity. I could talk for hours about that. And healthcare, biotech, logistics, financial services, the public sector, and arts, media, and entertainment. Those are targeted sectors that we prioritize where we know there's growth. Of course, all of the work that we do is done through the lens of providing access and equal opportunity for a lot of communities that have been left behind so that they can move into these really viable career pathways, which are essentially good paying jobs that allow for themselves to provide for themselves and their families. And I learned about some of the work that Kevin was doing through my colleague, Renee. And by the way, it's nice to see my old wonderful colleague, Michael Younger, who was previously with our labor agency. We were sad to see him go, but good news for Calbright. They've inherited an amazing thought partner and driver of these opportunities. So really my goal for today is just to learn from all of you. I do have some context for some of the work that Kevin is doing with both his apprenticeship program and hopefully soon, I think, newly developed pre-apprenticeship program to really find ways to develop these on-ramps. And he's clearly pulled together an impressive group of individuals to create a consortium so that we can drive this work. And so with that, I'll pass it off to my colleague, Renee.
Renee Brown, and as Kelly introduced me, I am a strategic business advisor for the Apprenticeship and Workforce Innovation Unit. And this gathering is truly, it's a call to action. It's what we're looking to cobble together, in a sense, is an employer symposium. Instead of all just talking about jobs or uplifting people, let's do it. And let's make that ask of who is willing to hire and how we can hire, not just for the entry-level jobs, but to really at the highest levels. And for pre-apprenticeship, it can be used as an entryway to start, but why not higher up into the atmosphere? So that's what I'm looking at as the ask. And to me, Kevin is amazing. We've had a wild ride and just incredible sparks over what the possibilities are. And now let's do it.
Thank you, Renee. Well, let me give you guys a couple of calendar dates to take a look at, because we're speeding towards convening people inside of events that are going to be hybrid events. The first one of note, I want to talk about what is going to happen this Saturday. I'm going to put it into the chat box, but I've been a credentialed press person for the last 3 days at the Pan-African Film Festival, which has really become a lot more than a film festival, buy-sell marketplace. It's really become the center of conversation around this community in Southern California for opportunities for not only for people to screen their films, but to talk about, some of the disparities, some of the problems, and, really for people to network. And that's what I think is needed more, especially post-pandemic, is people being in a room where they can actually try to collaborate with strangers, new people that maybe have been on the stage or maybe just ask questions. So what I really would like to do is put in this chat box this Saturday from 10 to 12, there's a symposium that will really address the issues of how do I get in the industry at the very earliest part of my development. And then some of the people there will also be talking about tactics and techniques to strengthen your competitiveness. But primarily in film, a little bit about tech. That's happening again this Saturday at the Pan-African Film Festival. Another calendar date where we're going to pull together a program that Jay Tucker is going to be kind of, putting his UCLA Anderson School of Business hat on, is an event it's going to be Friday the 28th. No, excuse me, Tuesday the 28th at Microsoft. And this is an event that I had kind of thought of would be an on-ramp to his capstone event, April 14th, called UCLA Pulse. It's a sports media, business, and entertainment summit where all the gatekeepers meet. And they talk about, new and exciting ways for things to be shared, but it's really where they meet and talk about the future. And all the people want to get ahead of the curve and understanding new business practices and, and all the things that really get just kind of siloed in private conversations. That's what his conference talks about. And I've been trying to get more students to come because he's been gracious enough to give me press credentials or tickets. And the ones that have come have been blown away. So I'm looking for Jay to kind of, as his capstone event, give us an opportunity to try and see if we can take this group and maybe present something that could be part of a discussion inside of his group with his gatekeepers. So that's the 28th. So I'm going to put these in the chat box. But if you guys can continue to think about and noodle about other ideas, other events, or other ways that we can start to put together some pilot project. Because I have one, but I'd like to think, does anybody have any questions, suggestions, or comments about a pilot?
And Kevin, is that a broad question regarding pilots and specifically these targeted careers that Kelly, fields that Kelly mentioned more specifically?
Yeah, I think the idea is to see if we can find events that would incorporate parts of what those sectors bring, but at least be able to think about how they can be integrated into something that would allow creatives and people who want to publish, preserve, and conserve all of their creative in a business model using some of the best tech. Eventually just making someone more of a Swiss Army knife so they know all the processes. And at some point in my apprenticeship, I want them to touch the tech. I want them to be able to deploy the tech so that they actually have a workflow and an understanding of how all these things apply to the finished product. And that's going to be their capstone and their way to present to me that all these processes were met. So they meet and get all the things that I could hope to have them, be exposed to, all culminate into one, again, capstone. So I'm going to put in the box, the first event I'm going to put in here is the last event, April 14th, UCLA Pulse.
Kevin, are you wanting the students to, as far as it being a pilot program, I'm a little unclear. Is it something that you want this group, you're saying maybe 30 to start out with, to break into smaller groups, subgroups and work on something? Do you want them to develop some kind of a property, a video or presentation within those groups? And then as a whole, do you want them to meet professionals in the industry as part of that? And I'm trying to get a handle on what
Yes.
that would look like. What would a day in the life or a week in the life?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because nobody came up with anything that will be the project that the 3 apprentices that I'm working with are going to be working on. But I'm putting in the box, this is the campaign or the project that I'm having them research and develop content around. It's called Executive Order 9981. And this is a project we start tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific on a Zoom call with the Department of Defense, the White House, and all other agencies who are going to be talking about putting together something. We don't know how this is going to fare it out, but we know that we have component pieces that we can offer. If we hear that there's an opportunity for our students to take the things they've been researching, they will then be able to be part of our submission for a greater national outreach campaign regarding Executive Order 9981. And General Bray can speak more about that because he gave me the idea back in August. And we got the invitation just, 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, last time we talked about something that might be almost similar to the Shoah Foundation, what they've done on history. And maybe there could be some double duty and students could work on projects that are about people of color in entertainment and media. From a historical point of view, they'd learn how to research, they'd learn how to write, present, build graphics around it, but make little pieces about that would build into kind of a compendium, maybe the beginning of something that would also historically trace the roots of that. I know that my stepfather-in-law, he ended up he was a senior VP of the New York Times, but where he first started getting involved in media was in the service. Radio. He learned radio on a ship and got caught up into that and then into journalism, and he moved all the way. And he wasn't a person of color, but he was, he was Jewish minority. Wasn't always easy for all of them as well. But there is, especially with people of color, I was just teaching about that today. Whitewashing, yellow washing. I'm going to lead into greenwashing too at some point. And maybe Kermit the Frog will be available for that. But we need to remember these people. Some of them are aging, they're getting out of our history, they haven't been covered in our history and history books. Wouldn't that be a good project maybe for these students to think about the industry, the profession, where it's been, where they're going, and get some materials that are important that we all need? I'm done.
Well, that's an important part of what I like to think is the new, and taking from your program, the new directions on how to get people actively engaged in researching how they can use the tools, the digital media tools, to start putting, stitching something together. So we used to call it oral history. And so there's a tremendous need for us to start documenting some of these people before they're gone. And we have done an amazing job of putting some of that stuff in the can. We actually did an interview when we were researching the Tuskegee Airmen almost 12 years ago at a convention with George Lucas. And we got a great interview with George Lucas that he gave us permission to use, but we've not been able to figure out how to stitch this into any work product. But we started also interviewing all those Tuskegee Airmen that we interviewed 12, 8, 6 years ago, and all of them are gone. Well, we got them in the can. And to our knowledge, it might be the last interview they ever did.
But now you have an opportunity to just not capture things randomly, willy-nilly, to have it kind of somewhat focused. And I think, especially kids as young, they need something to latch on to. They need, even though it's great, I'm all for innovation and taking that structure and demolishing it, but you kind of have to have it there first. If you're going to throw something away, you got to have it in your hand. To give them a form and a format that they can sort of follow within that and have some continuity to what that content is, but also it being something that's useful to us historically and also for them to learn about their field and profession. I think it would do more than double duty, triple duty.
Well, we do have a plan.
If I could offer up something real quick. And again, Brian, I wanted to mention that there's really two issues that we're facing on the recruiting side. And, many of you that work in workforce, it's really getting to the employers and making them see the value of the programs. And so that's one. The other part is what you all are saying regarding the Shoah Foundation work, Kevin, the Executive Order 9981, the oral storytelling. If you could take those projects and align it with and it doesn't need to be corporate social responsibility, but it could be within the marketing efforts of some of these partner companies that you all are already working with, they have an interest in showing that they're working with the community to create that content. It gives the participants a viable portfolio, and they're demonstrating that they can do exactly the same workflows, storytelling, media library building, distribution, promotion, etc. So they're able to sample a bunch of different career fields or functional areas, decide what they're good at. And again, the employers are getting a chance to then access this talent pool that has gone through a career discovery and is much more knowledgeable about what they may want to get into. And then they have context for some of these digital media roles or these content development roles, et cetera. So when I bring up the two challenges, I wonder, putting this to you all, Are there ways of shaping those two challenges into opportunities to work with employers differently? And then also to engage the talent pools differently and getting them to become storytellers, media strategists, and technologists that help distribute the content?
Well, I definitely believe there are several partners on here that could help us with those pieces, those puzzle pieces. That also could become employers if these people are able to showcase or present their application of work. One of the things that I'm definitely interested in doing with all the content that we own the rights to is putting it into a cloud storage facility that we have better cybersecurity, better privacy, and all the other things we can do to make this a showcase of how someone could take the learning and apply a way for it to help this project on. So again, photographs, digitizing all the digitizing all the artifacts. That's one of the things that we are going to have to do. And we've talked to one of our partners at Notavani about their cloud storage system, Silo Cloud. And that's something that we plan on, being able to showcase why is that important? There's many clouds out there, but we believe that people should have the knowledge to understand they can have their own private cloud. And what does that really mean? So that's one part.
And those are the positions that are hardest for recruiters to recruit for, are the positions that are, I'm going to say, production, redundant, digitizing, ingesting of content, heavy kind of technical processes, even in video games, just, the testing and research in that way. So if we could just get more people in tune to the critical need areas of the businesses, it'll actually branch out into many more career opportunities for them down the line.
I think that those in particular, what you're bringing up, Brian, those are the ones where apprenticeships would be great. Somebody that could job shadow with someone. That's many employers do that for new recruits and for entry level people. If we could figure out a way to make a line into job shadowing and apprenticing and learning how to quality assure for ingestion and digitizing, that would be great. Whereas the other thing that I was talking about is more like let them see, research, finish a project. They're really two different animals, if not related. I did mention the last time, and I'd say that again, if there's a way that through this program, we figure out how to make it very outcome-based, that ports to the schools, what schools want, and in the long run, what employers want. And maybe there's a way that we can confer a type of certificate. So once maybe through communities, colleges, or on our own, if we don't want to break free of that, or maybe both would be great. If you get a certificate as validated by Pasadena City College, but also through this program, that's something that they can put on their resumes, and that employers, we go to them and say, this student has been qualified, verified, they've worked on these projects, they've met these outcome goals. I think that would be helpful.
Great. And Jay is probably the linchpin because he wrote for us the manifesto called the Digital Pathway Initiative. That's what I used, and I'll put this in the chat box also, but that's what I used to submit to the Department of Labor for my federal registered apprenticeship program, which was really the notion that all of these disciplines needed to be, something that we could expose to people to create the new competitive person. And it was, media, tech, financial management, research. I can't remember the fifth one, but Jay wrote this thing almost 8 years ago when he's at USC, and it's good today as it, was when he wrote it, but we still haven't implemented it.
I bet that fifth one might have been data and statistics.
Yeah, can you remember what it was that you wrote in there? Probably so long ago, but it was a business case for, how all of the institutions that we were trying to impact, the K through 12 or the 10th through 12, the community colleges and some of the Cal States, everything was siloed in terms of how, people would get degrees or certifications. And when we attempted to try and combine them, even in a project, it was hard to get the buy-in and the throughput from the student to the instructors to some kind of outcome. But I believe, we're in a different time right now. And I know Cordelia Shaw at the promo pathway, their students are learning how to not just become digital media editor workers, producers. They're now working on all the things that would make these people super competitive, in all those processes to take the content that they make and, encode it, transcode it, and being able to, again, protect it, not only with the technology, but with the business case. And those are the things that if they put them in their portfolios and they get the one thing that you can't buy, which is the credits, the IMBD credit. When people see that, when job hires see that, it might be a little intimidating, because if these people show up as producers and they've produced even, a small sample of what it is that they've learned and applied, it'd be pretty hard to say that these people, would be, the people that would be overlooked for an opportunity to be in somebody's farm system. Is Shoney still with us, or did he leave?
I think Shoney's still here.
Okay.
He's got his hand up too.
Yeah.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Yeah. But he actually brings it home for me, because there's one part of this thing that we never really thought about, and we never taught people to think about, is entrepreneurship with all this. Because, he's the one guy that he wasn't the archetype of a student or, a digital learner that was just going to be boxed in. He decided, hey, I'm going to take what I want, apply it to the things that I want to research and learn, and become the guy that he is now. And he's got his own nonprofit organization where he now wants to hire the people that are his peers and put them into research and training programs and do a lot of things in his community. And so that entrepreneurship is something that I believe everybody needs to be exposed to. Whether or not they can get there, they should know that there's no frame that holds people's imagination, their innovation and ideation to producing something. And that's what we want people to know. So Shoney, if you can, go ahead.
Well, yes. Wow, the conversation has flowed in such a direction. So I'm not going to backpedal to my previous thought, but to kind of just continue the conversation in the present moment. The reason being for setting up this nonprofit, setting up this production house, and these different partners within local communities, local spaces, from community centers here in Lancaster to the different local businesses that do recording or do musical, teaching and recording, or local studios that do specifically photography, and then linking them up with, the churches out here that I'm working with, was to set up this network and this framework out here to see if I can prove to myself, can I create a system that would pull together a community, pull together different resources to funnel in students where I would teach them in-house through projects that I get bidded on and paid for to do for different studios or different companies. And then that payment that I get, I would give it to the students. And that was my goal. That was my plan. So right now we have everything set up. COVID kind of put a big dent in it, but now it's back and it's ready, it's set. And to kind of bring the conversation back to the ballpark in here is, I believe what we're trying to talk about is how to connect these different communities and these different systems together in a way that will allow us to streamline getting students from knowing nothing or knowing a little bit of something into navigating and learning these different skills and a variety of them, and then being able to effectively communicate what these skills are through an interview and through a portfolio to get a job or possibly land an internship or an apprenticeship with the other side, which is with these other companies. And so what I see is the reason why we kind of like brought this whole conversation was previously we were talking to Kelly last week, and she was very interested in seeing how she can come to the conversation and help us to channel all these efforts in a way that can be properly communicated to the other side, which was the companies, as that's what she mainly specializes in. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so with that being said, I feel like what we should be asking in this case is, well, what are those asks and what are those specific things just for one job right now, just for one, figure that out, and then do it for the second job, then the third, then the fourth, the fifth, whatever those are, and just tailoring these things. And then once we have that set up, we have a solid structure, we have all the resources. What we're lacking, from what I'm hearing from all these different conversations and meetings I've been a part of over the years, is just a streamlined focus on one thing at a time. So if we're able to focus onto one thing, I think that'd be great. And I don't know a lot, okay? I'm just sharing what's in my head. That doesn't mean I know it, doesn't mean it's true. This is just what I believe could help. I'm also here to learn, as you guys have been a part of this for a way longer time, building these systems. I know nothing about these systems. So if I'm wrong in any of this, correct me, let me know. I'm here to learn as well. I want to make sure that I can actually design and build something that is functioning and will bring students the biggest opportunities they can, especially with this new AI, bell curve that's fast approaching. And that's the other thing I'm trying to learn and teach on the flip side in terms of technology, because it's so powerful. But let me stop right there, because I could rant forever.
Right. So Anna Marie's got her hand up, but we've got 7 minutes left before Kelly has to leave. So Anna Marie, go ahead. And then if we have any other suggestions, questions, or comments, we'd love to have those happen now. After
I'm
Anna
going
Marie.
to jump out quickly because I have a heart out anyway, but I wanted to mention something that I don't think I did before, and it's related very much to what Shawnee is saying at narrowing what are these jobs, what are these positions, but what I was saying before too with certificates and connecting with these companies. One of the things that is a major problem that we've been battling down, whether it's old early film or AI, is bias. And there's sort of a certain bias that we see in every field, every industry, every part of our lives. But in the entertainment industry, in this field, they also are known for they're incestuous. So people get hired because they're already known. They're a known quantity. They've got experience. How do you get that experience? Even without all those biases on a level playing field, it's hard to do that. It's been especially hard for people of color and for women to get in because, well, weren't getting jobs, so they weren't getting the experience, so they weren't like the buddy, the crony that was being brought in on things. So that's why there needs to be these extra special efforts and maybe certifications, because that still does exist a lot. Prior friends and colleagues, I worked with these guys on this show. That's who I'm going to hire. That's who I'm going to go to. So we have to try to, chisel away at that.
Thank you, Anna Marie. Very, very well spoken. Anybody else? Because now we have 5 minutes, and I want to make a statement at the end as to why, kind of an ask for Kelly. But go ahead. Anybody else?
I'll just take one or two minutes and give the floor back to you, Kevin. As it relates to Calbright and what we potentially can offer to this great discussion, robust discussion, is really the capacity, right? We've talked about a lot of opportunities to obviously Kevin's piece and how can we add value to his existing apprenticeship experience and/or projects that are moving forward. So Calbright's building on this conversation of equity specifically. I talked earlier about 70% of our students are in the BIPOC population have typically fallen on a number of different challenging instances, whether it be workforce barriers, the reentry population, be it also unemployment, be it underserved communities more broadly in terms of access to the employment market. And so our kind of through point in this conversation is really, is there a program of interest? Because we're rolling out a series of programs, specifically 6 to 9 month programs. They're short-term entry-level programs, certificate-based programs, some credentialed element in computer technology, design, innovation. We talked a little bit about that, working with CDE as well as the Brick Foundation on 3D animation, user experience as well. But the knowledge economy skills too, right? Those entry-level rungs of the economy to get folks workplace opportunity. and by way of either full-time jobs or apprenticeships, right? And customer relationship management, right? Data analysis that came up, I believe, and I brought that up. Project management, but we also have a streamline around LVN, kind of that healthcare element, but also business related skills like human resources, right? So what we're hearing from industry as well is that they want to build this people management infrastructure, but they also want to build from the bottom up, right? And so we would love to add value in terms of either an existing program to further help collaborate and co-create and build out an apprenticeship curriculum, right, using our existing assets. And our programs are 100% free, right? At Calbright, we're funded through the state budget, and we've been around for 3 years. We're wanting to ensure that if it's marketing, if it's co-creating curriculum, if it's helping to bring in significant employers, we're leveraging, and we want this group to be able to leverage our assets as well.
Okay, well, thank you, Michael. I'm going to share my screen. We got 3 minutes left. I want to present to you guys an organization that I met. One of the representatives did not get a chance to make the call, but this is an organization that has pledged some commitment to internships that could become apprenticeships, or at least pre-apprenticeship. They are a developer group out of Chicago. They've come to Los Angeles, and the story needs to be unpacked by people like Kelly, Renee, and others on this call as to how we can put them in the mix. They are right now in the midst of a Pan-African Film Festival competition. They've got 2 films. They're the platinum sponsor. They just gave a $250,000 check to the Pan-African Film Festival, making them now a real movement, not just a film festival, in terms of its ability to showcase to other buy-sell marketplaces and other places that they can bring the community in, not just the people who are the operators in the business. So they're doing programs. And again, Saturday, they have a program for the people that I think are our target market, of people who are trying to get in the workforce industry, either as entrepreneurs or just to be relevant. So I would again like for Kelly to know that they exist and have a conversation with them, because they're interested in talking to Kelly. So let me get out of this. So Kelly, take us out.
Yeah.
Last minute.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest, some of which I hope that we can get to, and maybe this is for a follow-up meeting, but all of you know, if you're familiar with registered apprenticeship, the engine doesn't go without employers, and incentivizing employers to be brought to the table is basically priority number 1 above everything else. The good news is you have an incredible brain trust here with different folks that have a little bit of everything that I think could be pulled together. I would love to hear more about Jay Tucker's program. I would love to talk to Ted Milner about his staffing agency. I would love to hear more from Anna Marie and other educational providers about how we might be able to package something that is attractive to employers, because at the end of the day, they're going to be looking at their value add. Calbright is a no-brainer for me. Michael knows this. We pitched Calbright as a potential partner just because of the ease with which you can lift and shift models that you're developing. And I feel like putting together something that is attractive and then shopping it to employers, because whether it's a pre-apprenticeship or an apprenticeship program, at the end of the day, there has to be a value to employers. And so we didn't have a chance to delve as much into that as I would like. But so thank you for putting up on the screen a prospective employer who may have an appetite for this type of effort. What I would recommend is a follow-up meeting where we can talk about how we can piece together something that creates a feeder opportunity where we want to pull students from, and we have like a multitude of different options of folks who are representing different academic institutions on this call. I also would like to think about how we can put together a certification technology forward focus to what we're hoping to pitch. I also we haven't even touched on funding. I would love to talk to you about the myriad of funding opportunities that could be tied to an effort like this. I appreciated Michael mentioning the BRIC Foundation and CDE. I just got an email about NBC Universal. There is such an appetite for this. And the thing that, and the way I want to close this out is that there is absolutely no question that the efforts that we are putting forth are going to be met with a captive audience. We have to diversify this sector. This space is so homogenous, and the time to strike and do that is right now, and there are resources to do that. So I think that what we probably need to do is to put together a strategy agenda for a next call where we can hear from each of these different folks about what they could bring to the table. And then I would like to think about how we can attach an incredibly robust pre-apprenticeship program and then shop around this sort of apprenticeship program that you've developed with bringing on more employers. I would love to talk to Ted. He has a wealth of experience, not only from his own perspective, but the lens that his wife had brought to the table. She's worked in the space. She's been living and breathing it. She sees it. She has a front row seat to it. And I would also love to hear some of these other voices and people. Can I just raise my hand to have a meeting with the Brigadier General anytime he would like to talk about cybersecurity workforce development, because that's a passion of mine and the opportunities are ripe. And I would love to have an audience with him for 30 minutes or whatever I can take. So there's like a lot of action items, but I think a formulated agenda built around 90 minutes with a time stamp for each of these different folks to chime in and talk about building something. And then I would love to talk about your industry engagement strategy thus far and how we can build on it. Use Renee, use me as you start to go out and talk to these employers. So those are my final thoughts. But
Kelly, I'm going to step for just 1 second. I also, because I've had an extensive conversation with Brian Wright, I want him to design. Brian, I need you to design your perfect client so that we can also teach and skill to that, because anybody placing, and Ted, you've got all the experience too, but when you're, as recruiters, when you're looking to place people, make that connection, you have connections and you know what's wanted. So let's build what's needed. And pre-apprenticeship, instead of just always looking at the bottom, look at a 2-tier. Yes, the very, very entry level. And then we need a pre-apprenticeship so that people can take it to the top tier, and especially the brown and black community. It's time. Let's do it. And Anna Marie, I have to tell you, I can give you that certificate, because once we design this program and it has a registered apprenticeship or a pre-apprenticeship, we will have a certificate from the state of California for this. Yes, and now I'll be quiet.
Perfect. That would be great. It does actually mean a lot, and employers do. What do they want? I once ran a film festival, an organization in Atlanta, Georgia, for independent film and video makers. They were using their whole boatload of NEH money to pay for operations and stuff, and I go to give out for awards. And I got there and I said, use that money for operating and give the awards in the names of the donors and the stations and the network.
That's a very good point. Hey guys, I want to thank you everybody for being on the call. And February 28th, I want to plug this. Jay's running out of energy because he's sick, but we had a meeting today and we're going to circulate now a run of show. I'd like to invite Kelly on the 28th at Microsoft. We're going to put together a pretty great show of young people, old people, and all the smart people to try and put together a 4-hour, 1 to 5 o'clock experience that we're going to film, and we may stream it to some place, but this is going to be our opportunity to try to connect people in a longer, more, I say, engaging way to find out what the needs are and what the opportunities for them to, again, coalesce on something that could be a pilot project. So February 28th, that's what we really want to get everybody involved with at Microsoft from 1 to 5 o'clock.
So
okay?
old people means I can go.
General Bray, you have the last word. Go ahead, General Bray.
Mr. General Bray, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead. You'll take us out, sir.
Oh, well, I thought Kelly was doing that, but no problem. First of all,
Well, you raised your hand, sir.
did I? That was a mistake. All I did was come off the mic because I was waiting
Oh.
no problem. But to Kelly's point, one is as the advisor to Federal University, we also have 6 certification programs online and in person for cyber. But again, is we have to make sure that one, we call the things right.
Okay. So I think we heard most of it. So again, I'm
Okay,
gonna.
thank you.
Okay, we recorded this. I'm gonna send the recording out, but then I'm gonna ask Renee and some other people, maybe Brian, to figure out what did we hear and what do we want to do for the next 90-minute call, and then see if we can prepare some of this for a public forum on the 28th of February. So again, thank everybody for participating and hanging in there with us. Okay.
Awesome.
Hold
Thanks
on.
for having us, Kevin. Everyone have a fantastic day.
Thank you all. Feel better, Jay.
Keep us posted.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Great meeting everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you.